My last insurance did cover like manipulation, like physical manipulation or something is what it's classified under. It's like physical therapy.
I want my insurance to cover. I hope it does. I'm paying so much in insurance money right now, but sure. I want physical. I'm getting physically manipulated. I want that covered.
I want to be emotionally and physically manipulated. Can I get that?
That's on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Hey, Victoria.
Oh, hey, Chelsea.
You know what I could use right now?
What could you use?
A Breath of Fresh movie.
Ooh.
That's a movie I like to see.
Getting into the characters.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes.
If you don't have it figured out, today's show is the 1992 teen comedy Encino Man, starring Brendan Fraser and directed by Les Mayfield. When a California teen, Dave, is digging a pit for a pool in his backyard, which we just accept as true, he discovers a caveman frozen in ice. With the help of his friend Stoney, they thaw the man out and pass him off as a foreign exchange student at their high school. There's more to it than that. But
that's
the premise.
That's
And we've got Brendan Fraser, Sean Astin. We've got Pauly Shore, who's like actually not as irritating as I thought he would be.
He's in his peak, like he's in his prime time when this is coming out.
Oh yeah,
like this is his era.
Was that like
it works.
Yeah, his show,
you know?
Totally Pauly on MTV, right? Like that was like his thing.
Look, I've not hated all of his. I've been a fan of some. I loved Biodome, and. Goofy Movie.
Yeah,
there's like two lines on that.
We can talk more about him down the road, but I think there's
it's
more.
Too early for this.
There's more to Pauly Shore than meets the eye.
There you go.
We've also got Michael DeLuise, who I didn't confirm this, but I believe he's one of the sons of Dom DeLuise. Robin Tunney, Rick Ducommun, Ke Huy Quan.
Yeah,
he's in it.
Yep.
Rose McGowan has
crazy.
A single line.
Yeah, it's an interesting cast.
Yeah, it's a mixture. And I just want to point out that Eric Avari and Jerry Bednob played Raji and Kashmir. The sort of not 7-Eleven, but the mini mart.
Yeah.
They were I don't know.
It's good. No, good. Yeah, no,
They
good.
were playing stereotypical, but it wasn't totally hateful.
This is one of the, again, this is going to be one of those things you have to watch acknowledging the time it came out. Well, just but
they're playing.
There's problematic elements. And
I mean, it is a movie that is so much about the valley,
right?
The valley. And in fact, I just want to mention this up top. Encino Man is only the title in the United States because name didn't travel well or something.
It's a pretty specific locale.
It is. So internationally, it's known as California Man.
Yeah. And then that kind of gives this general idea of what California people are like.
Yeah, like exactly. Because this is before Clueless, right? But it came out about 3 months after Wayne's World, and the director credits like, listen, Wayne's World really opened a door for us because it proved that like you can make a successful comedy with this demographic. Yeah. And so this is nowhere near as good as Wayne's World, but it is still very well. It's got its following. It feels
it's got its following.
It has certain elements. It's definitely a teen movie. It tested well with teens. Like it reminds me a little bit of like 10 Things I Hate About You, and that there's a band at the end at prom. And there were bullies in formal wear.
It's got a lot of nostalgic value to a lot of people. And it has that time capsule or time travel element of, you kind of feel like you're back in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
Even the way it's shot, there's like a texture to this film that I was like surprised by the quality of it.
Yeah.
Because I think a premise like this and the kind of the way low art looks like high, like past low art can look like artisanal compared to
I know just what you're saying.
Get what I mean.
And actually a lot of it, again, this is a movie that it functions completely well. Like there's an emotional journey.
There's some cinematic shots.
It's not hateful. It's not like I went in with incredibly low expectations.
There's the roller coaster POV. There's some Dutch angle, like when Yeah. Anyway.
Oh no, it works.
Yeah, I'm jumping ahead.
Checkpoint Chelsea. Though.
Oh yeah. So no, it doesn't matter if you know what happens. It just the premise is the thing. Like it's just these high school kids dealing with this weird fantastical thing. There's like I
don't like Dave. Like first impressions, I do not like Dave. Sean Astin's character, I find him like awful.
Yeah, it's a very. And I think of that character a lot with like Kevin Smith movies. The very like whiny kind of like, oh no one, I'm so put upon and
just playing with my stamps,
kitty.
But I get what you're saying.
It's that there's something whiny about that.
And also I get that
there's something like this pathetic like I don't know, just like,
well, it's also like it's 92, so I think like his emotional journey is supposed to be that he develops a certain amount. I gotta stop.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah,
she's making noise.
Kitty.
She's like, my joy.
My joy toy.
My joy. Yeah. I wanted to make noises in the mic too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All I was gonna say is like, okay, it's 92. It's obviously focused on like it's a 2 dudes and then 3 dudes kind of more buddy comedy. But it's like, right, the women only exist in relation to their needs. I mean, they're talking about,
sure.
You know, they're talking about it's about him like feeling like I have ownership over this woman. How dare she want to be with this other guy?
I could watch this as like a double feature with like Mallrats, even though that is a little more like there's a little bit more ironic care in the dialogue and trivia stuff, but
a lot of similar
that
vibes.
type of the type of protagonists and the I don't know, peak 90s Americana.
Yeah, and it's just I think I'm like, are we supposed to find him lovable? Because I don't. And in contrast, Stoney, who is ridiculous. I mean, his name is Stoney.
Yeah.
But
he played the reality.
He did. Of being just a weirdo.
He's just kind of that guy.
Well, like, yeah, that's true. And
he's kind of just
and this
that
clearly
dude.
was like a vehicle for him, like MTV or not MTV, Disney, who produced this.
Yeah.
They really thought that, Pauly Shore will bring that like MTV audience to this movie. They were kind of counting on that, students. But anyway, first impressions. We've kind of started giving them, but
I don't know. I think there was like a quality to how this movie was made that I didn't anticipate because I've heard of it so many times, and I just knew, I was like, oh, this is just some dumb whatever, and like Biodome is very, very dumbass fart camp bullshit. I love that movie, but it is. I just thought Encino Man was, and there is definitely that aspect of it, but it's like, I don't know. I just was like, oh, this is a bit more cinematic than I expected. Like they weren't being too winky about the humor. They were letting the actors
be real,
be in the situation.
Yeah, and
I didn't really like. It's kind of, but I don't know.
We do have to go about 20 minutes though before we get Fraser.
That's true,
and it's a long 20 minutes.
It's true.
It's a long 20 minutes.
Well, they need that element needed to come in sooner, that absurdity.
Yeah.
It's just I think maybe it's a little sleepy.
But they do say in
screenwriting
screenwriting that like the 20-minute mark is like your premise is now like in like the movie's in
we should know.
Like
we should know what's going on.
Like minute 20 is very important.
Yeah.
It can be significant. I'm sorry, I have to draw your attention to what's going on over here.
Oh my god. She's got
the nighttime.
She got the zoomy. She got the claws.
Yeah, she's very...
She's zoomy.
Yeah, so I feel like the first 20 minutes, a little slow. And, you know, there's just some weird lines like, she hasn't hit babehood yet. You know, and just like gross stuff. Also like some really clumsy product placement with Doritos.
Maybe this is like a pacing thing. Like it's a little slow.
Yeah, a little bit.
I call it cinematic, but there is that aspect of it too, where it is a little. It's almost you almost do want it to be a little more cheeky.
I kind of wish it had like maybe
or faster paced.
I don't know, like opened in the science room when they're talking about Cro-Magnon.
Yeah,
also, I really thought that science teacher was funny.
That's an underrated character.
That was a really good performance.
I think a lot of characters reacting to these protagonists that are at different degrees being salacious or outrageous, whatever. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of that humor, you know, sinks or swims based off of like how good of a straight man or how good of how good of a reaction you have. Whatever, you get what I mean.
There was something about like the way
how good of a reaction you have.
The way he talked about it and the subject, and he's going around the room and he's like, now last week, you know, we talked about, and he's describing this thing, which are called, And he points to somebody, you know, in the glaciers, and it's like, oh, you have been paying attention. And he's like, okay, so then these massive things, which we call, and he points to them again, glaciers. That's right. You know, like
teacher characters are
so good.
There's got to be like 5 podcasts at least about that, right? About teacher characters.
I'm thinking about like Stephen Colbert's in like public school.
Oh
teacher
yeah, and Strangers with Candy. Yeah, it's great. We have a new student.
He hit that tone really well.
Yeah,
in a sort of absurd way.
There's a lot of great teachers. I like the teacher that confiscates the pot and then the Cheetos and 10 Things I Hate. The detention teacher. He's like, "You've got pot, don't you?"
Yeah,
I'm taking this, and then he's like, "This too." A little squeeze in the back. Yeah. And then there's that other teacher that must be Nigel with the brie.
Yeah,
those were some good teachers.
Yeah,
and then of course the Shakespeare teacher. He was great.
I felt bad that they made him rap.
Yeah, but
that was a little cringe. But whatever.
I don't know. I still liked his character. I understand, but see again, there's dated.
I'm just saying
there are dated elements.
That movie for me,
I thought it was well performed.
That movie for me exists in a Hall of Fame devoted to Allison Janney, so it gets a pass no matter what.
I feel like, not to be too much of an apologist for a problematic thing, I find a lot of the humor of it being like a subversion of like they're taking a thing that's supposed to be boring and then like showing that it's like all the teachers
which is literally the message of the movie, right?
Yeah,
like we're taking Shakespeare and we're making
we're if anything, he's encapsulating the entire point of the movie. It's a meta.
Yeah.
Anyway, wow, that was too much.
No, it's perfect.
Cut that.
No, I love it. Okay, I laughed out loud when they find this bowl in the ground. Okay, so we mentioned at the beginning, like, right, our main character Dave is digging a pit in the backyard of his house. Parents are fine with it, I guess.
Whatever.
And that pit definitely looked like you didn't dig that out with a shovel.
That can be that's sometimes distracting what things people are nonplussed by.
But anyways, he's digging a pool. We need him to be doing this so that he can find the Iceman in the cave and whatever. And so he finds it, but like, it's like, what is this? He's like, it's a Mysterian bowl, you know? And like, why is Stoney full of all of this like information?
It makes it funny. Like, it's funny.
It is funny. But I think this movie,
his idiot savant character.
I think this movie though kind of can't decide how serious it wants to take itself.
Yeah, there's a little is it self-aware or is it being? I
don't know.
You know, is it trying to be witty or what? Like low blue?
Later on, there's a scene in the tar pits where Link, which that's the name they give the guy, the caveman, where he pieces together what's happened to him, and he has this like emotional breakdown.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, that's very sweet, but that feels kind of incongruous with this like, yeah, man, gazongas.
Yeah, like wait, is this supposed to be?
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be heartfelt? Like, sad? Like it's, bingo. Is it, it's a little, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can work in certain movies.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes, but it's like the way it all hits you as you're watching it.
Yeah. I mean,
like how
strike you at
how's it going through my system?
Yeah.
How am I digesting this?
Yeah.
As it's happening.
I fucking love that the cool place to hang out is called Blades. And it's an ice hockey rink. Like, what the fuck? What cool kid? Like, literally, they could not get another location. Like, that's what it feels like to me. Like,
it's funny how
meet me at Blades.
Some of the funniest stuff is just the things that were just in earnest.
Yes, exactly.
So
it's an earnest movie. It's like.
And so things that maybe wouldn't have been, people weren't probably laughing as hard at that. It's just whatever.
No,
that's just we got to name it something, and then now it's like in hindsight we're laughing at it like The Room.
I really did hate though that they would add that sound effect of the like weasel thing when they would wiggle their fingers or whatever, or maybe he was doing it with his mouth. I don't know.
Sometimes they had added certain flourishes that made it cartoony, and then all the more reason that then suddenly there's a serious moment. It's a little jarring.
It's like which way?
And you either are enjoying it enough that you're on board with it, or maybe you're not, or you're taken out of it too much.
Yeah,
some people are still fans of it.
Yeah, and
the whole chimichanga.
Yeah,
enchilada.
I also thought it was disappointing that like, and of course it's supposed to be disappointing. It's the character, but like, let's teach him how to fight.
Yeah.
Like, let's teach him how to be a misogynist. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you ruining this guy who they make this point that, like, you know, why did he just take that punch? And it's like, well, because in his time, he just fought for food or survival, not for, like, face or pride.
Yeah.
Isn't
That's actually a poignant
there's some
thing to unpack. It's almost, this could be an interesting, like, TV show. You know,
there was a made-for-TV movie called Encino Woman in 1996.
But no, Encino Woman. That's all right.
A cave woman.
No,
as I was watching this, I was thinking, like, if I could cut Sean Astin and replace him with kind of a cool girl, you know, and, like, instead of it being about trying to, like, win his
you want to make it woke. Well, you want to change the genders.
No, I
still
want Brendan Fraser to be the thing. Mm-hmm. I still want him to be the hot, dopey guy. Which, by the way, like, we need to talk about.
What are you talking about? Women can be cavemen.
He had a cave nug that they brought.
Cave nug.
Oh my god, ridiculous. That's literally how she's credited. Cave nug. Anyway, I didn't write the actress's name down. I'm sorry.
But that's just what it was.
Yeah,
that's good for her. I was Cave Nug in Encino Man. Yeah. Actually.
Oh yeah.
Fun fact.
You were great.
You were great as Cave Nug.
I kind of wanted to yak at that moment at Blades when Dave is like, "We've been naked together," and it's that picture of them in the bathtub together. And I'm like, this is creepy, dude. Like,
it doesn't. It comes off again like that.
She's like, oh, it's sweet.
It's
like, it's only embarrassing if someone else sees it, but she seems to be into it otherwise. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. It's like that. I think at the time you're not supposed to think about how the picture was gotten. You're supposed to just laugh at the image and the situation itself. And then now we're looking at it, and there's the.
I would have not spoken to him ever again after that.
I think I think like, a lot of the humor doesn't hold up to
scrutiny.
I think I think it's certainly very post 2000s, and it's a more, you know, especially in the last like 10 years.
My god, yeah,
maybe, yeah. You know, I mean, there's always been like ironic humor, but especially the very like, I gotta do what? Well, I guess that just happened, or how'd you get in here? It's very, you know,
very. I'm explaining my feelings,
or I'm calling out the absurdity of this situation.
Yeah, tired of that.
Yeah, so you know, it's good that they embraced this very creepy thing that
I guess
so. It's actually I actually think it's better comedy but yeah, I get what you're saying. I think there's something about the absurdity getting to such a degree.
Yeah.
But then we're supposed to kind of take there's no, like, it messes with the stakes.
Yes.
And it's hard to care about or get invested in certain conflicts that are situational conflicts because it breaks the tension too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I don't know. It's too much subversion.
In a story sense, everything works out the way it's supposed to.
Sure.
It's just that, I'm disappointed in how unlikable the protagonist is.
I'm wondering, on the production side, was there any sort of dissonance creatively in the development?
I did not find out a lot. I maybe could have worked a little harder, but you know,
that's
it's
okay.
Encino Man.
Well, I think also sometimes.
I mean, I liked it. Surprisingly, I think Brendan Fraser is the reason to watch this movie.
Absolutely.
That's not just because he's having this resurgence, which we have discussed on a previous episode that you should go and check out.
Absolutely.
Wait, I have it.
We've all been fans, you guys. No one's competing for. I liked him first. Crap. It's just he's been around. We all love him. He's great, and this is one of the movies where he does a great job in it.
Yes.
Even not every movie he does is that good, but he's always good.
We discussed three
fans.
movies of his in episode 11. So you should go back
three of his. Huh?
Yeah, the Brendan Fraser.
Did we really cover? I thought we only
did Monkey Bone, Gods and Monsters, and Blast from the Past.
Oh wow!
Which now Blast from the Past is like a much better version of this story.
It's the fish out of water.
The time travel, like I'm at NAIF and I don't know what's going on. I'm innocent. And it had a woman in it, and she had a gay best friend, Dave Foley, who was really funny.
Yeah, he was actually really funny.
He was a lot of fun.
He's not even gay though, right?
I think he's supposed to be,
but in real life.
Oh no, not in real life.
That's what I was. I just was like,
no.
No, but
he's comfortable with himself. He's not,
yeah. Well, I thought he was for a long time because this was the first thing I ever saw him in.
Oh, Blast from the Past. Okay,
like when I was a kid, before I'd seen him in any sketches or other aspects. Like I had thought for a long time he has, and I remember it just took me back. I was like, I thought
he has a very angelic face.
Sure,
like he looks. Like he's pointed out and they've leaned into, like he looks like Isabella Rossellini.
He actually does. Yeah, but the thing with Blast from the Past too, this is actually an episode about Blast from the Past. He plays it pretty grounded.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's made me think he was actually
gay.
Gay,
didn't play it like
it didn't seem like he was stereotypical.
He just did good work, is what it was.
Yeah, he's
Dave Foley.
Good. I think tying that back into same skill set as Brendan Fraser.
Yes,
and his acting abilities of taking it for serious.
Yes, I mean an act. I think like a nonverbal role. How much fun for an actor. Like then he does George of the Jungle, which is that's the thing. He's playing
relative to his caveman here.
He's playing these kind of mute or again bumbling knave-ish. He
plays himbos.
He does play a lot of himbos, and he plays it
early
well.
Originator of the himbo.
No, because like when they clean him up, and it's like you can believe that women would accept like a confident guy who's tall and looks like that.
Oh yeah, when he's like running around with the horses in George of the Jungle, it's like after he'd had he's still a wild man, but now he's all cleaned up and he looks like he's from a romance novel. Yeah.
I mean, in this movie
this is a similar thing. Like he cleans up well, and then Robin Tunney's all into it. Like it's a whole thing.
It is just like as soon as he's in the clothes, it's like again, I just like, oh yeah, I buy that. A lot of women wouldn't ask questions.
I also love too because he's not talking that much. People assume
they project onto
him. So that's I like that trope with characters. When
it's so funny.
It's like with The Good Place with I don't remember the one who he's supposed to be now it's Good Place spoilers. Anyway, I don't want to. Sorry,
it's fine.
People assume a lot when you don't speak. And that's funny when people take advantage of that as part of the joke of a character.
Yes, totally agree. I did a little digging about Fraser. Fortunately, I found him talking about this role. And so he talked about how, my family moved around a lot when I was young. I said, and in doing so, like, you're the new guy a lot. And he's like, I had to learn to be comfortable in my own skin because that's like the fastest way to be accepted. He's like, it was survival. Like he wasn't trying to make it seem like, I was so good at just like, no, he was like, this is how I got through.
Yeah, it's a different take than like, I became the class clown as a defense mechanism. But it is sort of, I had to like
you
learn
have to
humility.
Like just be okay with yourself.
Yeah.
So he was somewhat drawing on that experience. He also was really he dropped two really great names, Bill Irwin and Buster Keaton, talking about their clowning abilities and how silence and that the last thing you bring to a comedic performance is comedy. Like you are he talked about the poker faced sort of people who have it happen to them, and he even was like, listen, I don't think I'm a funny person at all, but like I know better than to try to be in these roles. Like that's not what you do.
I mean, he did his best with Dudley Do Right. I'll give him that much.
Yeah. He always does his best.
He did his best.
He also, and I love this, he said he described his spirit animal for this character being like an innocent herding dog.
Aww.
Like the kind of dog that
what a guy.
They'll do what you say. Cute. They want to please you.
Yeah.
And they really want to include and keep everybody together.
That actually caught me off guard too. Watching this movie is that he was pretty amiable and he was
sweet. He wasn't like vicious.
Well, yeah, I think you'd expect a caveman to be a little
like
more
rip the dog's throat out,
really intense and violent and feral.
Yeah, he screams at like the helicopter, but like that's natural.
Yeah, but that's
I want to do that.
But it was actually fairly.
It was pretty low.
He was more chaotic as George of the Jungle than he was as this character. I think
it's really interesting that the choices he made, it's like, and the story and the focus of the story, it's like, like the unevolved man turns out to be the evolved man.
It also reminds me of Edward Scissorhands in that way, where he's more of like, we're seeing him just taking in this outside, very active outside, bright, big, loud world, modern world, and like they're just kind of. The projection. Yeah, very similar.
No, anyway, and I think like again, it's like, oh man, this movie could have almost been a poignant. It's like almost there.
Well, they're playing with that tonal dissonance, I guess, with this movie. Is like they're kind of playing with like bigger ideas, but then they also want to be like, they want to be intentionally raunchy and lowbrow, but then they want to also be ironic and commentate. Like they want it to be satirical. So there's a lot of that, but then
they're fighting a lot of different things, and the Pauly Shore element in there. I just want to mention that like I was surprised that he wasn't hateable in this, and again, generally he was like, normal's boring, and like without saying he was a queer character, he kind of feels like the gay best friend that you have, or something. Yeah, and I don't even mean that. Like it has to be
like
that.
He's that loose cannon. There's always there's the more uptight and the more loose cannon. Yeah. It's the odd couple.
He's a perfect foil.
Very common.
Yeah. But I also think him being like, oh, I'm cool. I'm just like I'm an unusual weasel. It's just that I'm in Encino, man. I'm in Encino where no one appreciates me, and it's like that's very relatable as well. Like like I think I get why this tested well with kids and teens, because it is ultimately about like being yourself, and like that.
I mean, he articulates a good. I mean, it's self-image.
Again, it's not bad. Like
a good perspective about being an odd person out.
Yeah, and like it's
that's
like
relatable.
It's surprisingly enlightened, I guess. And I never thought I would say that.
Yeah,
about Encino Man.
They do. Those are good characters. Sometimes they unexpectedly insightful.
Yeah.
I really don't think that ever happens in Biodome.
No.
I think at that point, that came out after this, right? I don't remember.
So. I think so.
But yeah, I think definitely he's played broader, far cruder versions of this type.
This was a sweet Pauly Shore.
Yeah, this is a very this is an endearing version of that.
The only thing they could really go hard on were like his outfits and the lingo. Don't be texting my like. I mean, that is like annoying. I mean, but it was not as hateable as I thought. It didn't last as long as I thought.
Yeah, certain profanities, things like that. Yeah, it's just of its time.
I also did really love the moment where they come back from Mega Mountain, which is clearly Six Flags Magic Mountain. And he's just like, oh no, you got him talking like you now. Like I let out a genuine laugh when the two of them are. I'm like, that's beautiful. I love.
It's good chemistry. You see good chemistry.
They worked well together
between the actors in this. Yeah, and it's like,
I feel like Fraser has good chemistry with everybody.
He just seems like a really nice guy.
He's the dude.
I don't think
we talked about it, episode 11.
He does. I will say again, I've definitely not loved every movie he's done, but he always does his best.
I'm looking forward to Killers of the Flower Moon. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I just want to mention, speaking of Stoney's clothes, Marie France, who was the costume designer, everything pretty much was just shopped for except for Pauly Shore's outfits and Brendan Fraser's outfits. Those were custom, partly because Fraser was just so tall. It was like, I can't.
He feels tall in this movie too. Like he feels looming down.
Oh, he's so like his physical presence is like, I get why
that definitely adds to the humor.
I get why all the ladies are like, yes, please.
Oh, definitely.
Like, it's like again, very believable. Like that dude seems like a cool dude, and he's also comfortable in his own skin because he doesn't have shame or like, he's
a chill, tall, hot dude. Yeah, he's not talking.
Perfect.
So you just assume that he's just like he's a stoic,
Perfect husband.
He's so intellectually enlightened.
Doesn't speak.
Yeah, this guy will take care of me.
This was a box office success, even if critics weren't crazy about it. Pauly Shore got a Razzie Award for Worst New Star.
That's funny.
And
he's had that. That's just been the thing. Like people
always,
they love to hate to love him. Yeah. I think people do genuinely enjoy him, but they also enjoy dunking on him.
Yeah, and I gotta say, on
his career and public image.
Yeah, stuff. Like I want to share just a personal story, which maybe this was just because I was sort of newly arrived in LA, maybe a couple months, but I went to a comedy show at the Comedy Store, and Mitzi Shore was still alive at that point. But I went in, and Pauly Shore was hosting that night of stand-up. I don't remember why I was there, but I went with a friend. She wanted to see somebody, I think. And, he was the MC and host, and it was like the first thing he said, he runs up on stage, he's just like, welcome to my mom's club. And it was just really funny. And he did a couple minutes of stand up, and it was good. He worked the room perfect.
Yeah.
And then, he was proceeding to tell us about how like, oh, I still have my Hollywood Hills house that I got from doing, the son-in-law and all that shit. Like, oh, I rent it to other people now. I live in Silver Lake. This dude's like way smarter than.
I think we only get so much from all of this, like the social media discourse and the gossip, entertainment news and stuff. We're only getting a certain amount, no matter how explosive of a personality someone seems like. I feel like there's still that added thing. Like we don't know everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the Britney Spears, dealing with her conservatorship, and then there's
there's a lot that we still aren't aware of, despite this feeling that we've all lost all of our privacy.
Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's marriage and children and there's just so much we don't know about all of these situations or what these people are like outside of the work that they're doing.
And I think I was just struck by like, oh, of course, like the image that most people have of Pauly Shore, or when that name is said, is it's a punchline or it's a joke.
Oh yeah, like he's supposed to be some like.
Some has been or something.
Yeah, some washed up dude we laugh at. And like that's pretty neutral. I served him twice.
I just remember feeling, and granted, it was a show. He was presenting. It was a performance, but I don't know. I just, like I said, it made me think differently about him. Oh, what else don't I know about?
Yeah, but all kinds of people, like you don't
exactly. And
I don't know, but that also is a thing too that has shifted over time, where people seem to be more invested, not just in like the image that's curated in the press or media, but like what is their type of engagement with their base, or the whole authenticity, like your followers, your Instagram, your fan base, all that stuff.
I say all this, but I also know that I'm pretty sure Pauly Shore was on like Joe Rogan recently and talking about like why his film career.
No, he's got his. I think he's earned fair criticism.
He had I'm not a Pauly Shore stan,
but he was also definitely not a dick both times I served him at 2 different serving jobs, and he was
okay.
He was perfectly nice.
That's something.
He asked a lot of questions about menu stuff.
Yeah.
At one of them, but other than that,
that's your right.
Yeah, like he was not.
No, and
he was not a bad person, and bad customer at least.
His whole vibe, it's like one of the few things from that era that like hasn't kind of aged into like, oh, he did something horrible or poorly. And again, I don't have all the information.
Honestly, I think a lot of people are reluctant fans. I shouldn't assume that about everybody. No. There's definitely a lot of people who just aren't fans, which is
I think I'll just say that I respect somebody who can set their ego aside far enough to play the fool.
Yeah.
And to be like, oh, I don't care if people think of me
it's
that
a type. I mean, it's a type, and it's a career based on that type. And
respect. I don't know. Again,
I don't think career-wise, branding-wise, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Or acknowledging that may be something that's separate from your actual like intellectual or maturity level.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. One last thing I just want to mention about this: Ke Huy Quan and Fraser, both in this movie, and and now of course they're both they're kind of experiencing a revival of interest in their careers and their talents.
Yeah.
Almost simultaneously, and I guess they ran into each other somewhere. I don't remember.
They've gone to multiple award shows.
Well, now they have.
Yeah.
But the first time they reconnected, after basically they hadn't seen each other since Encino Man. And Fraser walked up to him and just said, "We're still here. We're still here."
I love that. It really is. This industry, this career path is such an endurance test.
Oh,
and is a very
so much
last hand on the prize car.
It is half of it is just lasting
stamina.
Yeah,
and then also trying not to get phased if you feel like certain people or things are passing you up, and then
oh god, you can't it's like you'll drive yourself fucking crazy. And I say that as somebody who's driven herself and will do it again.
I am currently crazy. No, it's like fine.
Trying to turn that crap. It's hard. It's very hard.
It's human, but it's also I like that, and I like that acknowledgement of validating the worth of them sticking to it.
Hell and oh my god, yeah. No, it's
still showing up.
It's beautiful. Just, good for them.
There's always a disparity in terms of like older performers and creators.
I just saw somebody tweeting something about like we had this casting.
I saw that same tweet. That's I was just thinking of that. Like, there's like very few people that are actually going out in these certain
like the 18 to 30 had the biggest numbers pulled.
I'm sure the millennials are going to change that.
Yeah, but you know, it's like one of the things that they first-time filmmakers and emerging filmmakers, unknowns. You know, one of the things that is a smart move is you approach an older actor and you give them something interesting, because a lot of times they're not getting tapped. There's a lot of talent, like especially older actors that they're just waiting for the call, you know, like, and I mean, that don't abuse it, but you know, like I actively keep a list of people that like I would love to see in a movie again or on the screen again, because I don't know. I don't always remember their names. You know, sometimes it's smaller roles or there's just this sheer number of people. But I'm just like,
but there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, I'm just like, if I ever have our chance, I have a list. I'm ready.
Yeah,
like I know I want Perry Gilpin. You know,
this is I'm going to revive these people's.
Yeah.
I want to start this renaissance.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to do
this
that.
person's.
Well,
this
that's
person's
what like Tarantino
renewal.
Pretty much did.
John Travolta. Yeah,
you know about that.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Same brain. Do you have reviews for us?
I can. Sorry, I was.
No, it's okay. I didn't mean to like toss the ball.
How
that
dare
fast.
you make me do my thing?
Hit you in the head. I saw.
So it's. Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I looked at some newspaper reviews.
Yeah.
I forgot to alert you to them. They're actually in the Dropbox, but there was definitely like a lot of ice, metaphors, kind of like the soap dish phenomenon. No one could resist a soap metaphor, no one could resist ice.
People were joking about cavemen. The 90s, you got Geico, Phil Hartman.
Yeah,
you know,
cavemen had a moment.
Well, just in general, a lot of fish out of water, cheeky broad. It's Austin Powers, the kind of Wayne's World a
Fish
little bit. Although they're more of a peas in the pot. You get what I mean, though. Like the very broad outside Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah, we love that. We love
the fish, especially in the 90s. We really liked it.
We really liked it.
And a lot of people like this movie.
Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of people don't.
A lot of people really don't. I know. I've been pretty positive. I'm shocked at myself.
I think a lot of this, like a lot of the love for this is a nostalgia value thing, and like I think a lot of fans may have saw this when they were younger. Or it's a reminds them of a bygone era. I didn't either, and so I don't. But that's my theory, at least, because critically. Yeah. Sorry, what were you
I was just gonna say I think you're absolutely right.
I critically on Rotten Tomatoes it's at a 15%, but audience scores 56%.
All right,
so it's nearly fresh. Like it's 60 or more. I think it makes it a tomato and not a splatter. But and it's funny because we were just talking about Eve's Bayou before, and it's like all of this. Long paragraphs of people articulating why this resonated, the quality, the appreciation for the craftsmanship. And then this is definitely a movie that's people have a lot less to say, a lot faster.
I feel like we've had more to say than anyone's had to say about Encino Man.
I think we're probably the longest existing review of this movie.
Prove us wrong. Send us a longer one.
Yeah, Lawrence Kahn from Variety. This is a 2008 review, but he said a low budget quickie is insulting even within its own no effort parameters. There you go, one sentence. Right. Boom. Yep. And then some of these don't even say anything. It's just there are a couple ripe tomatoes, but one of them is watchable yet somewhat disappointing from David Nusser, real film reviews. Karen James from the New York Times had said, the real question is whether Dave and Stoney and Link are worthy heirs to Bill and Ted or Wayne and Garth. Not really. Oh, yeah. So it's the comparison problem where if you come in too late on the trend, and it sounds like they already were a little late on the Idiot Valley Kid thing. And
it's true. It sort of feels a little unfair then. I think maybe part of why I viewed it as favorably as I did is because I'm seeing it out of context and without any personal connection.
No, but again, this has fans, and it's definitely more. It's 2.9 average on Letterboxd.
That's about which right. I think. I mean, that's about what I would rate it.
Which I would say, I think it shows, just like with the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, that people are more forgiving, I think, of these similarly skewed things from the critics, because it has, well, again, nostalgic value, love for certain actors, or just a certain like vibe
movie.
to it,
it's a teen high school,
it's a teen high school movie. It's a 90s movie. It feels very SoCal 90s.
It almost felt like an episode of Buffy to me.
It's very nostalgic, which also has that same energy, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Southern California, they're in a high school. The teacher's conveniently talking about the theme that was going to be addressed in the episode. Yeah, because there are
things that are very obvious in the dialogue at times. There are things that didn't age well because they're a little too too transparently out of touch.
Oh, I mean, like there's some camera male gaze lingering on asses being squeezed and shit. I mean,
and this is definitely on Letterboxd too. Just a lot of very short little. There's some longer ones where I think people are trying to, especially the lot, and there's a lot of praise-worthy reviews. Even though it only says 2.9 average, most of these reviews,
it's a low score, but we can say a lot
at least
about
3+ stars. Most of them about 4 or more. I think people are very forgiving of the shortcomings of this film.
I'm glad.
For how it makes them feel.
We have a heart. We found it, America. It's Encino.
Yeah, 3.5 stars and a heart. Stoney was my guy from Tristan. And then we got 3 stars and a heart from Izzy. They did my boy dirty with that haircut and clothes. Stoney and Link deserve better friends. Fuck Dave.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot
Dave
of people
sucked.
really 3 stars from Cass. Absolutely no acting was done in this movie. But I like that.
I don't know.
I like it.
I like it, but
I think definitely everybody, I think people cared. Yeah. And we were talking about the intentionality, I think, in Pauly Shore's self-image, I think, in some ways, or branding or whatever. But I like that it comes off that way.
Yeah.
In some aspects. I don't think it actually doesn't feel low effort. I think you can tell when something feels low effort, and it's that.
It feels like it was probably a fun shoot.
I mean the chemistry thing. Yeah. I think it's just that discounts the chemistry a little bit. I'm coming down on this blurby Letterboxd review like an asshole. I liked how concise it was, though.
Bring the hammer down.
4.5 stars from. Oh, I like this Scumbelina. I'm not a geek. I'm a unique weasel. It's just a good thing. Certain lines that resonate with people.
That's a good line.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I
like that.
Sometimes a movie, like, everybody just gravitates to one line.
Yeah.
For it, and that's a good example. A couple of them mentioned it, actually.
Yeah. That is.
People are really apologists for that character. I think
he's not as hateful.
Yeah.
Looking, like, especially from now, like, he's basically like a Gen Z kid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not to generalize. I don't want to generalize, but like he feels like, and I know that style is back now, so maybe that's doing some of the work.
It's the ideology too, where a lot of the humor.
He literally was like normal.
It's very nihilistic.
Yeah, he's the fact that there's a line where he's like, "Normal is boring. I don't want to make this guy normal. Like, I just want to be his friend." It's like, that's so much. There's no oppressiveness. He has no need other than to just be kind and to be himself. And it's like, those are really like fundamentally good qualities. And I get that Dave's whole emotional journey is to learn that, but he starts like, it gets to the end.
Boy, is it tedious. I'm not saying that characters have to be likable, but they have to be watchable.
I just wish he was more likable. Yeah, and I thought it was kind of sweet that like they reunite Fraser with his wife, the cave mug.
Cave mug. That's such a funny name.
That was kind of like, oh, okay. Like they did kind of resolve some of the heartache there,
Some wholesome
shit,
Oh,
and because you're right, there was that second earthquake, and also I was wondering, where the fuck did they get that champagne? Like, why are these high school seniors drinking champagne?
Again, if they're going to be absurd, be absurd. If they're not, I don't know.
I was so,
I think a good example of the tone that could have worked, like, I think Detroiters is a good show that tonally has like certain absurd things, but then there's like the wholesome doofus buddy relationship. I feel like that comedic energy. It was like
perhaps in the hands of a stronger director.
I think
this was a debut.
Maybe this is the pre-genesis of that flavor of humor. That I think that makes sense with what you're saying about the gens. So things that there are things about this that feel very contemporary.
Yeah, embracing. Again, like queerness being, we're not attempting normal because there is no normal, like we're all different in some way and people need to wake up and see that.
Those characters can be really great.
Yeah. Some other movies that came out around that time were Lethal Weapon was #1 at the box office, followed by Alien 3, but we always called it like Alien Cubed.
Yeah.
They put the superscript. I don't know why they did that. Far and Away, which was Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Right.
Encino Man was #4, and Basic Instinct was at #5.
Oh my gosh, such 90s.
Yes.
And it's big. These are all big schmaltzy movies. Big, like very big parody, spoofy.
I mean, imagine a world where there's only one Lethal Weapon movie.
Right. That I can't. I can't.
And
I don't want to.
I would like to do that.
I don't think I've ever seen any of them.
I'm going to say some other movies that were Beethoven, which of course has Charles Grodin.
Oh,
so,
there you go. Oh my God, such 90s.
Beauty and the Beast.
Wow. Yeah. This is peak cinema. We're peaking as a
Wayne's
as a
World,
society.
which we mentioned already.
Yep. We're right at the top.
White Men Can't Jump.
Oh man.
And The Player.
I've never seen that one.
That's
Actually, I haven't seen either of those, but I know a little bit more about The Player.
I haven't seen The Player either.
I mean, I've heard of both.
Put it on our list.
I've heard all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all super 90s sounding.
It is.
And honestly,
super 90s.
There's something very comforting about revisiting that era.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes.
No. I mean,
economic boom or whatever, all that
nostalgia
sort of,
it can be dangerous. I think like we have to be careful
going into pre 9/11. There's something by. I think people get a little wistful about that. Stuff, about especially the 90s in particular. Either side of it, whether it's you're more towards the early end and there's still the Bush administration stuff, or if you're going to go towards the latter end.
It's all still post Reagan. Which is a whole kind of demarcation. That just whatever. But I take your point.
I think that contributes to what may seem like a conflation of the value of this film or the critical rating, like the audience rating versus like critical.
Yeah.
Because they're really coming down. On it. And its story and techniques and whatnot, but I think there's an emotional value of it.
I think it's expected that critics come down. I mean, like
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. In terms of the emotional value people seem to have on this.
Yeah, I mean,
I have to wonder. There's got to be some projection going on here. There are objectively better movies in the world,
absolutely, but
there's
this wasn't terrible.
No, I thought this was.
I like watching Brendan Fraser.
And look, I loved Biodome, but I thought this was going to be even more like fart, shit, piss,
and it wasn't
stupid. Yeah. And it was actually a little. It was a little surprisingly.
It's the Disney influence, I think.
Yeah,
it's a little more wholesome.
Yeah, and to that, I'll say Disney, especially Disney Channel.
Yeah.
70% of their movies are like fish out of water. Like, what if this weirdo went to high school? What if this? Oh, my cousin's an alien. My brother's purple. Like, I don't know. Fucking
there's 1,000.
Oh, I came from space. Now I have to go to regular high school.
Yeah, no. I
oh, the girl with the batons has to go to military school.
Oh,
like
no.
the girl with the pink hair extensions.
Yeah. It sounds like there was a series of books like that. Like
I'm turning into a leprechaun.
Like the gym teacher's a genie.
Yeah.
Or
there's no such thing as
or something. I don't know.
Or it's like gym teachers can't walk through walls or something. Like those are like the titles are always
cover
like
that like would have like the whole scene.
Yeah, it's
played.
like grandmas can't float in the air. Like kind of like weird, and then they'll show the thing they're doing.
I'm sure you've seen and this is totally a tangent, but there's that Instagram account of the person who takes those old paperbacks and then like changes the text on them, like to suit the image or whatever. Like one of them is like, I figured out how to marry my cat. Anyway, I don't have a lot of details about the director Les Mayfield. He's retired at this point. He was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, November 30th, 1959. He went to USC for cinematic arts, graduated, and formed a production company with a friend from USC. It was called ZM Productions. He produced a lot of TV episodes and movies through this, including a documentary called Heart of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse, which was about Apocalypse Now and, how difficult it was. He also produced the Computer Who Wore Tennis Shoes. Great title.
That's like Encino Man sounds like that sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, I gotta. So, the mannequin came to life.
Oh no!
Oh no!
We should totally do Mannequin if you haven't seen it.
I haven't.
Oh my god, we're doing it.
Have you not seen it?
No. Kim Cattrall?
Yeah. I was just thinking of that.
It's on HBO.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing it.
Okay, done.
Right. You heard it here first.
All right.
Okay, so he did Encino Man, but then he did the 1994 version of Miracle on 34th Street. He directed that.
Yeah. Wait, which one?
Miracle on 34th Street.
The 1994 you said?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he also directed Flubber in 1997.
Oh,
yeah.
Flubber.
That
movie is so frustrating. That movie fully rides on why can't you just say this critical piece of information here? Why can't you just be here at this time? Like, it's just...
I hate Flubber.
He's such
a missed opportunity.
Yeah. But also, but there's so much I liked about. I mean, I've watched it. We had the VHS and watched it, but it's not a story. Like, I wouldn't have fun rewatching it now because it's.
I hated Flubber.
I think it just it's too much.
I'll move on.
That's okay.
He also directed
for you.
Blue Streak in 1999.
I haven't seen.
He did American Outlaws in 2001. 2005, he did a movie called The Man, and in 2007, Codename The Cleaner. So, I mean, he got some money.
He likes to make silly things.
Yeah,
I'm getting a silly streak.
A lot of comedies.
A lot of silly stuff.
Again, didn't find a lot of information, and it said at the top, retired filmmaker. So I think, he's like, I've had enough.
Yeah.
Flubber broke him.
Oh, no.
So
yeah, you didn't like Flubber.
I really didn't.
That's crazy.
Who's your best supporting player?
That is a good question, actually.
I thought for sure it'd be Robin Tunney.
I was going to say Robin Tunney's hair,
Ooh,
actually.
Yeah, good answer.
Which is...
Yeah, good to see.
Yeah, interesting. What a prop.
Oh my God.
What a prop item for her in her career.
All the girls, and there's apparently only 2 of them in the whole school, they were so...
early career, I should say.
Slutty seeming.
No, I liked that she seemed aware of herself as the character. I liked that energy where she seemed a little more self-possessed.
You're right.
But that's not to say. That's not to say that you're not wrong with how the women are written or objectified and
that's basically what I'm getting at.
But what's cool is just seeing her with all of her natural, in the Craft, she's wearing a bunch of wigs, and then in Empire Records, she shaved it all off.
Right.
I guess she's a good actor, but I can't stop looking at that hair. I think
it's upstaging her.
Again, I can't help but project nostalgic value onto certain faces or image, and I think Brendan Fraser is another example of that, but also simultaneously, he happens to be very good.
Yes.
She's also someone who happens to be very good, and yet I can't help but put all this nostalgic... that's the lady from that other thing. I remember her from this thing. And that kind of... It almost... It's annoying sometimes because it's an intrusive thought or reaction that gets in the way of just watching.
I know what you mean.
That actor in their scene. Sometimes a celebrity, they'll become too much of a brand or name.
Yeah, I mean, I like Fred Armisen, but sometimes when he shows up in things, it's kind of it takes me out.
Oh, did you watch Wednesday?
No.
Oh,
is he in it?
He's Uncle Fester.
Oh, he's Uncle Fester. Oh, okay.
I guess it's not that much of a spoiler. It's been out for a while.
He is great.
He only comes in for a couple episodes, but it is they put a lot of weight on it when he shows up.
I love a lot of his performances, but he's one of those people who kind of like Patton Oswalt has just gotten so much work. And people continue to give
Patton
him
talked about this in stand-up where he's like, I feel like I don't have to be as funny now, or he's making a joke about.
Yeah.
People seem to just are praising, they're just throwing praise at him before he's even said anything actually funny. Yeah. And people are laughing before he finishes a joke now. He's calling out the absurdity of of that.
I mean, he, in a sense, being successful comedian is an absurd existence, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that like it's defined, like you're the metaphor of like Il Pagliacci and the clown, you know, it's a strong one. Like, you know, Kitty.
Yeah.
She's ripping up boxes. All right. So anyway, that's less. Cool. I'm going to say my best supporting player was Mr. Brush, the science teacher.
Yeah, you have an appreciation
Rick
for...
DeCumming.
Well, you look at adult characters in these stories, I like that.
Because I'm like, this guy's
I was saying, there should be what if people talked about teachers and shows? Like, that's the adults with the shows and movies and stuff.
No, they're the best. And they're frequently, because they have the most experience, like they're often the most talented. Well, not most talented, but they're the most adept and professional and good in a scene, the most natural.
It's really interesting to go back and watch more closely those types of characters and how they're portrayed. You know, you watch this movie or show growing up, and then go back and you're like you look a little more closely,
identifying a little
and
more
a
with the
better
adults.
appreciation. Yeah. There's some at times there's like, oh, I understand. There's actually a couple jokes there that went a little over my head in their tone or delivery, like the Rugrats parents actually, and some of the episodes or scenes are
cut to a principal, and it's just like. Again, when the people who
10 Things I Hate About You, Alison Janney, another great example. You go back, you appreciate it more.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I loved her then though with the cat.
Yeah,
cat. What's another word for engorged?
It's really, really well performed. Like it's funny, but it could have not landed.
She did it good.
Like it's. I think it's like
she felt genuinely like
she
a
understood the
counselor.
joke of it.
Yeah, she knew who she was. Yeah. I love Alison Janney in general because like she's very frank about the fact that she's like, oh, like I didn't really start acting till I was in my 40s.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and she's like, and I'm about like 10 feet tall, so I've never been like sexually harassed. Like, you know, literally things she said.
That's funny. No, but like I think that's, you know, those are things. I mean, it's.
But I love her. I love her so much.
That,
and I'm like,
that can come up in an actress's career.
Yeah. And
that
I'm
is
like,
oh my God, a sad through line in many.
I would love to be like an accidental like success in my when I'm like 40 or 50 because it's like.
Was she accidental or she pursued it?
Well, she pursued it.
But yeah,
I don't mean
I get what you mean.
Like I don't want to act unless everything is for me.
Yeah, if it's fully catered to you, so you don't have to think about how you're saying a line or what your motivation is. You're just dropped into it.
Yeah,
it's your.
I would learn the lines.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd pursue it, but if it was on, I'd be like, oh, hey, that's Encino, man. If it was on at a party, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Again, the on at a party answer. I don't mean that like.
I think that's usually it's that or laundry. I felt like would I really sit down and watch?
Yeah,
this?
I didn't mean that in like an aggrieved way. I realized like we've given that answer before, like both of us about like, oh, if it was on at a bar or a party or like.
I think that's a good way to like contextualize our investment in the story.
I'm gonna go ahead and say nah.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm good.
That's okay.
I've done it because I watched it and then I was talking to Mike about it, who saw it when he was really young, and you know I'm telling him all this stuff, and he's like, "Well, now I want to watch it." I'm like, "Well, I can't watch Encino Man twice in one day. I don't even think I can watch it twice.
It's just not good enough.
I can't watch it twice in one life. Like you know, I'm sorry.
I think there is almost too much breathing room in it for all of that atmosphere that I praised because there is like a quality.
Yeah.
And we used to give comedy productions, but we used to give them money. Yeah, we used to put money into comedy movies.
Yeah. Although this was, by some accounts, kind of low budget. I think it was like $7 million, but it made it all back, and it did great. And it was all clearly just filmed in the Valley. You know,
I think just at least in terms of the I don't know. It looked a little more luxe than some of the even more lower rent things that I've seen.
Totally. And 1992, Los Angeles Valley, I'm sure they're still quite populous, but like everything is more built up now than it ever was, you know?
Do you think if it had been faster paced or a little quicker in delivery, you would have been more engaged? Or would it just been...
I think the first 20 minutes just were really slow. Like in the way that I'm like, I'm just waiting for Brendan Fraser.
That can make or break a movie.
You know? Like he literally shows up at minute 20 and it's like, okay, I guess like, this is the story point, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I told you I started it and then got distracted. Like I wasn't immediately invested in the characters.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, or the situation.
Why should you be?
Well, that's Yeah, I think There are definitely
now I'm really ragging on it after like being so nice all episode.
I think
now
that's
I'm like,
I think that's
why would anyone watch
well, I think
this?
you're being real.
I was being real.
I think you're being real.
I'm just respecting the people who worked hard. That's
Kitty.
Yeah, she's been very patient. So we should wrap this up.
Yeah, let's.
Okay. Thank you for listening. You can follow us on the various social medias at Fresh Movie Pod, or you can email us. We love email. Seriously, we love it.
Cool.
Email us at abreathoffreshmovie@gmail.com.
I was shouting the whole time, wasn't I?
No, you're good.
Eh.